Hey Geeks, and welcome back to the Geeksider Show. In this video we're reviewing Orphan Black Season 5, Episode 5, titled Ease for Idle Millionaires.
If you haven't seen this episode yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, you're going to want to skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler.
Okay, there were two big takeaways from this episode. The biggest one for me is the Westmoreland who's like on the compound, on the island, might not be the Westmoreland who vanished like over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Might be a different guy.
And we have two sections of the group who are realizing this. Mrs. S is looking into it.
Yep.
And Cosima says to him, something along the lines of, you're not 170 years old.
Yeah, she's like taunting him or something, and she throws that out at him, and then he just straight up executed one of his experiments.
Yeah. And
that completely broke Cosima.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it did.
The other takeaway from this episode is we now know what Rachel and Neolution, what they want to do with Kira. They're going to
steal all her eggs.
Like, they want to make a whole new set of clones to see if her regenerative capabilities are hereditary.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Like it makes sense. Of course you would want to know that or not. But they're going to steal all of her eggs.
All her babies. All her future babies. They're going to steal it. Like Cosima says it perfectly.
Did they say?
They're going to start it with 1,300. So they're going to harvest at least 1,300 of her eggs to implant into these people, these surrogates. Mm-hmm. And that's just the start.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that that's where they're going to stop.
These are all Kira's children.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and she's a child. Mm-hmm. And they're going to do this soon. Like, there was some sense of urgency that whatever's happening is going to happen soon. In order to harvest eggs, you have to go through, it's not an easy process on an adult. And this is a child they're going to do this to. There's tons of hormones you have to take in order to make all of your follicles start to develop right away. It's painful because you suddenly have tons of follicles developing on your ovaries. They're not all supposed to develop at the same time. That's not natural. And then they're going to have to insert a needle into her abdomen to suck out the eggs. This is an incredibly painful process that's why people don't just do this for shits and giggles. You only go through IVF if you absolutely have to, and have your eggs harvested if you absolutely have to. It's not something you just volunteer for.
And can it potentially do damage to her reproductive system permanently, or no?
Probably. I'm sure that's one of the risk factors.
Young?
Yeah, that's the thing, is because she's so young, she's not all the way through puberty, if she's even started it, and they're going to push her not just into puberty, they're going to push her past and through puberty in a short amount of time in order to get her eggs to where they need to be. And it's terrifying. She's a kid. She should not be going through this.
But it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun to watch Kira hustle Rachel.
Yes.
Because it seems like Kira and Sarah are finally getting on the same page. It took a long time, but they're finally starting to get there, and I think Kira's starting to come around and realize that Rachel can't be trusted.
But it's because Sarah's doing what we said she should have been doing from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Kira is a lot more mature than her age because of this connection she has with all the clones. She should have been in on all of this stuff for a while now. It's affecting her life. She should be in it. And now Sarah's finally telling her all the stuff that's going on and letting her be privy to the things that Rachel's done. And because of this, Kira's understanding. That's all she wanted. She just wanted to understand why is Rachel a bad person. Nobody would tell her that, oh, she's just a bad person. Just trust us.
And you mentioned Kira's connection with the rest of the clones. Speaking of that, Cosima got locked up at the end of the episode. Westmoreland shut her in the cage where he kept Giannis. With Kira's connection to the rest of the clones, will she be aware of that? Yeah. And will the Sestras come to the rescue? Because I'm telling you right now, if Helena finds out that Cosima's locked up and one of her Sestras is in danger, oh man, it's going to get real ugly real fast, and I can't wait.
Oh my god, yeah. They should release Helena.
Other notables from this episode, Ira is glitching.
Yes.
And, oh my gosh, Susan is still an awful person.
And they had this weird, creepy dinner party where everybody had to dress up in, period type piece. It was bizarre.
It was really, really weird. And I feel like this is where I'm like, Westmoreland's crazy.
Yeah.
And it can't be the original Westmoreland. Like, he's going, like, above and beyond to make it seem like he's an old-fashioned
Yeah, it's
kind
a
of
little,
guy.
it's too much. It seems like somebody who's younger, who's, like, maybe in his 80s, would do to make people think he's 170.
I think he's a con artist, and the dinner party was show.
Yeah.
You know, dressing up in, like, Victorian type clothing. And then, God, when he had Delphine escort him in, that was really creepy.
Yeah.
Like, just the whole vibe was just, give me the heebie-jeebies. Now, I read the review from Vulture.com, and they pointed out something that I never noticed before, and I want to mention it in this video. BBC, they spell Westmoreland 2 different ways, and I think they said in their review they do it in the show as well. They spell it Westmorland, and then they also spell it Westmorland. They spell it with and without the E. I think that's a very subtle hint that Westmoreland from the compound is not Westmoreland 170 years old. He's got to be a con artist who did some research, or maybe a descendant or a grandchild or something. Regardless, he's not the real Westmoreland. Alright, I think that's all we have for this video. If you have anything to add, please let us know down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you can tell us by dropping a like on it, and subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video on social media.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
The link to that Vulture article will be in the description.